side, I lit my lantern ever so cautiously to let a single thin beam of light fall upon his eye. And this I did for 7 nights, but I found that the eye was always closed, so I could not do it. I could not kill the old man and his eye. But on the 8th night, I was unusually cautious in opening that door, and yet on this night he must have heard me, for he moved in the bed suddenly as I started. Not a second or two had passed before he sat up and cried, "Who's there?" I kept still and silent for a whole hour. I did not move a muscle. He was still there, sitting up in bed, listening, as I had done night after night. Although he could neither hear nor see me, it was as if he could sense my presence in the room. I decided to make just the tiniest crack in my lantern to let a sliver of light fall upon his wide, open vulture eye. And that's when I heard it. The sound of the old man's heartbeat. It grew quicker and quicker and louder and louder. The old man's terror must have been extreme instead. It grew louder, louder. I thought the heart must burst, and now a new fear seized me. That sound, it would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw open my lantern and I leapt into the room. He shrieked once, only once. I grabbed him from the bed, threw him to the floor, took the mattress and threw it on top of him. And for many minutes that heart beat on with a muffled sound until it stopped. The old man was dead. But his eye would trouble me no more. If you still think me to be mad, well, you will think so no longer when I describe to you the wise precautions I took in concealing the body. I wrote hastily, but in utter silence, as I dismembered the corpse. I took up 3 wooden planks from the floorboards, and I placed the body beneath them. Then I replaced these planks so carefully that no human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. The bell chimed to announce the 4 a.m. hour, and there came a knocking at the door. I went to answer it, for what had I now to fear? And in entered 3 men who introduced themselves to me as police officers. A neighbor had heard that shriek in the night, and they were dispatched to search the house. I welcomed them in, for what had I to fear? I assured them that the shriek, it was my own, in a dream, and the old man, why, out of the country. I bade my visitors to search well, and I took them to every room of the house, until at last we arrived at his chambers. I showed him his treasures, secure and undisturbed. In the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought several chairs into the room, and I desired them to rest, sit, relax, while I placed my own chair over the 3 wooden boards. The officers were satisfied. How could they not be? My calm manner had convinced them. They sat and asked me some questions, and we chatted of familiar things. But before long, I felt myself begin to grow pale, and I wished them gone. My head ached, and there was a ringing in my ear. But still they sat, and still they chatted. No doubt I now began to grow very pale, and the sound, it increased.